Alright guys, welcome to a highly requested video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Player of the Month investments for April. Now the reason why I took a little bit longer to release this video is actually because I was waiting for the match that was played today to actually be played, of course. Now that match was Tottenham versus Crystal Palace, and the two front runners for the Player of the Month is of course Son as well as Benteke. So I wanted to see what they would do against each other and if anybody would take that last gap that would ensure them the Player of the Month. However, neither of them scored, so we're left at actually identical stats. If I'm not mistaken, they are exactly identical, and it is Benteke with 5 goals and 1 assist and Son with 5 goals and 1 assist. So as you guys can tell, who's gonna get it? That's a very, very tough choice. Now, the one hint we might have is the fact that, of course, Son has already won this award, so maybe they'll want to give it to someone new, and that's going to be Benteke. Now, something that we're going to check live on the video so I get the stats exactly right. Crystal Palace has won 3 of their games, tied 1 of them, and lost 2 of them. Yes, that is correct. Won 3. Tied 1, lost 2. So now for Son, just to double check, yes, he did get 5 goals, 1 assist, so they are identical, just like I thought. But Tottenham, on the other hand, has won actually 5 of their games and lost just 1 of them, no draws. So they have the upper hand on that stat. So you could say, you know, Son contributed a little bit more to help his team win or get more points overall, which could affect it. But at the same time, you could be looking at like the fact that maybe Benteke carried his team more, even though they didn't win quite as many points. You know, he did a little bit more work for his team, but that's a really hard one to say, you know, so that is something we can't really be too sure about. So I don't know who's going to win it. So you're going to have to pick one to invest in or invest in both. That is a very unfortunate thing about this month, but it's also kind of exciting. It's a little bit like Lukaku and Kane, but this time, if it's Son that wins it, that's going to be an amazing Player of the Month, and if it's, of course, Benteke, that'll be a sweet Player of the Month. So I'm pretty excited for this regardless. It's just tricky to say who's going to win it, but enough with the stats, enough with that. Let's get to some investments, man. So we are going to start with... Let's go ahead and start with Benteke. Why not? So we'll go Premier League and we'll go to Crystal Palace here. So one of the things you'll need is probably an informed Crystal Palace player. That's what I think you're going to have to do. Now, of course, what I've done is picked up Benteke himself, because as we've been seeing with these Player of the Month SBCs recently, you've been needing like the actual player. Like it'll say something like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, or it'll say something like Romelu Lukaku. And in that SBC, it's just one slot, and you have to submit that player. Now, I think that's going to happen again. I really do. And I think it's going to have to be an informed Benteke. At the current moment, he's going for 54k, which is not bad by any means. If you do have to submit this card, he'll be going for minimum 100k, but most likely 200k, you know, something like that. So to get him for 50k now, it's a good idea. This is about as cheap as he's ever been. And not only that, but, you know, he probably won't drop that much in price if you don't need him. There's no way a card like this is going to go for like 20k or anything. So you might just lose out on a little bit. So I think that's a very safe investment. Benteke there could have some huge payout if you get it right. Mandanda, high-rated player here. He cost me about 5k. So if you need some sort of rating on the squad, I think that's going to be a great pickup. We got Sako, Kabai, Zaha, Dan, Ledley, and Delaney. Usually you don't need a full squad of the team to submit, but even if you do, this basically ensures that we got most of it covered. And you know, if you have to purchase 3 or 4 players, it's not the end of the world, but I don't think it's necessarily vital to pick every single player from the club up. That amount of players is going to be plenty. Now, of course, you could go ahead and guess that there's probably going to be a Belgium SBC along with this one. We'll usually see something like that with the Player of the Month things. And let's just go ahead and do this. Of course, no league. So, of course, there's some obvious ones here. You get the high-rated players. You get your Courtois, your company. Maybe you pick up a Lukaku, something like that. Also, Alderweireld is a good idea. I'm actually waiting for someone to sell. I'm going to go out and buy him. And, of course, you could probably guess that he might be featured in my Son investment. So we'll get there in just a second. But that is one option to get some of those regular golds. Now, I also think that getting a special card is not a bad idea. Of course, I do have Benteke himself. But just in case you need some sort of inform or special card, someone like the Donker is just an absolutely great idea. 84 rated, and he actually just got a new card. and it's going for about the same price, if I'm not mistaken, 86 rated. So that could be a great pickup. I just have this 84 one already, so that could be a great idea. Someone like Defour, who is already in the Prem, which would be, of course, a safe bet if you need some sort of special card for that. Again, very cheap price. So I'd pick up some Belgian players here, you know, maybe a special card or two, maybe another inform if you have the coins. But if not the end of the world. Some sort of special card would probably, hopefully, get it done. But that's going to be that. So Belgium, pretty simple, pretty basic. Now, one thing that I think they could do is a sort of championship side, including players from Aston Villa. Now, we'll take a look here. And again, I don't think you'll need a full squad of these players. I think you'll need, you know, a championship squad with 3 of these players or something like that. You could also need an inform, so I'm actually gonna get an Aston Villa inform again once my player sells. And the player that I will be getting, by the way, there's only one inform from that team. His name is Chester. He's a center back, about 26k right now. I could also see them doing something where you just need a special card in general. So you could do Movember Jedinak, you could do Foot Birthday Bonlahor. So there's a few options there. But get some basic Aston Villa players here just to have it covered. And then if you really have some coins, might as well go ahead and get an inform or special card. Not a bad idea. Now, you could also say that he could need a Liverpool one. He didn't stay too long, you know that. But it could be a good idea to pick up a Liverpool player or two. We've got the likes of Mane, Origi, Coutinho untradeable, Matip untradeable. So a few guys there, some decently high-rated ones just to cover us there. And then, of course, as I always say, it's a likely shout that you'll just need a high-rated Premier League team. You know, you'll need an inform or something. So we've got Shawcross, my man. This guy is just always in my club for these SBCs. 84 rated, great nation. Obviously, with England, we'll link to so many people. And in the Prem, so just a great player to have there for the informs. He's high-rated enough. And, you know, just some high-rated Premier League players as well. We've got the likes of, you know, Terry, Eriksson, Company, Payet, Courtois. We've got Lukaku, Torre. Wouldn't trade Torre, but we got Mandanda, Baines, Dembele, Schweinsteiger, Bailly. So, you know, just guys like that in case you need a decently high-rated Premier League squad. That's something I'd pick up. Now, that can also go to, say, for Son, because now we're going to transition into Son himself. So, again, you'll need a Premier League squad probably for either one of those guys. Now, let's take a close look at specifically Son, what could happen for him. So, here we are with Son. Now, the tricky thing with him is, I don't think, some people were saying, right, let me start with this. Some people were saying that you need the Player of the Month version if he gets a new Player of the Month. You basically need to trade in the old one to upgrade to the new one. I don't see that happening. There's no way EA would make sure that, you know, someone that didn't even buy the game in November or October or whenever he got this Player of the Month, you know, would be counted out just because they didn't have the game back then, they didn't complete the SBC. I don't think that's gonna be how it's gonna work. You know, you don't need the Player of the Month Son. I really don't think that's gonna happen. But I do think you will need a special Son. Now, with that being said, hopefully the Player of the Month one does indeed count, as well as the Man of the Match Sons. So I think that you will be needing a Son. I think any version, any special version of Son will work, whether it's Player of the Month, Man of the Match, Inform. You're going to be needing a special Son. That is like, I would say 90% confirmed, 95% confirmed. That's just going to happen, especially the fact that he's already got a Player of the Month. They'll be doing something like that. You'll want to get some high-rated players. We've got Eriksson, we've got Dembele, Walker. I've got regular Son just in case. And we've got Janssen, not Janssen, I think it's Janssen. We've got Carroll, not that that matters too much. And, you know, if we have to sacrifice maybe a Dele Alli, maybe a Kane, if you don't play him just for the rating, if there's something crazy going on, that's a good idea. I've got Trippier here as well that I would use. Now, one thing I'm actually going to do is pick up the Inform Trippier. Again, when I have the players that sell off my transfer list, I'll go ahead and do this, but I have to just tell you guys that now because you can't see them in the club. I will be picking up Inform Trippier. I think that you probably will need an Inform. Again, I think Son will be his own SBC where it says Son, and then you go in and it's one player, you have to submit Son. I think it'll be something like that, and then you'll have the Spurs SBC alongside that, and I think you'll need a certain rating and you'll need an informed player. Now, if you guys can remember, yes, it was for the Harry Kane. I don't think it was the Dele Alli one. Maybe it was Dele Alli. I think it was the Harry Kane one. They did something like that where you needed the squad and you needed the informed player but they blocked out the defense and the goalkeeper, and I think they did that so you couldn't use Trippier and you had to use someone else. I don't see them doing that same thing again. That was kind of like a really annoying move by them, and I just don't see them pulling it twice in a row. So I think what they'll probably do this time is any inform, you know, you need a full, well, maybe not a full Spurs squad, but you need 6 players from the Spurs or something, and you need an inform Spurs player. I don't think they'll do the locking thing. So I think Trippier would probably be a safe bet if you could get, you know, maybe a Dele Alli inform, a Harry Kane inform, and you're comfortable with spending those coins. You know, it's probably a better idea. But I think it'll be a high rating thing. You know, you need your Erikssons, your Alderweireld's, maybe even Lloris, and then an inform player. So that is that. Let's go ahead and look at the last option, which is, let's go here. It's going to be Korea. So in this section, where are we? There we go. Korea Republic, South Korea. I think you'll be needing a Korean squad. Now, we did have a Korean squad last time, and you could be thinking, oh, and actually I did say this will be the last one. That's not true. There's actually one more hint that I have for you guys, or one more tip, rather, that I have for you guys in just a second. But anyways, back to that point. You could be thinking, they did this SBC last time. I don't think you'll need the Korean players again. You know, there's no Korean informs other than Son. So this is too simple. You know, it's too much of a simple squad to submit for such a player. You could be right, but I think they're cheap enough where, you know, you might as well just pick them up. I mean, look at this. Okay, he's first owner, but I saw on the market he's like, what, 600 coins? Wait a sec. I thought I bought all these guys. Oh, you know what? I did buy them, but then I realized they're all duplicate, and I put them on my transfer list. But they were all like, what, 400, 450 coins for each of these guys. A lot of these silvers are super cheap. So, you know, if you're spending a couple thousand coins and you get a full Korean squad set up, you might as well, because if you don't, they're just going to be super inflated if that SBC does happen. And either way, they might even be inflated anyways later on, because everybody, you know, panics last second. Oh, I got to get the full Korean squad. So you could just sell them even if you don't really think it'll happen. So I just think it's a smart investment. Definitely get some Korean players. A little bit unlikely since, again, it is low rated. And this Son card will be insane. I think you'll need some high requirements, and the squad won't be that cheap. But that is an option. Now, this is one that I definitely see happening if Son wins. We are going to find, not Bayern, we're finding Leverkusen here. Here we go. Bayer Leverkusen here. I think you'll be needing an informed player from Bayer Leverkusen. Of course, this was his past club, and I think you might be needing to build a partial team, including some Bayer Leverkusen players, and then, like I said, maybe a Bayer Leverkusen inform as well. And as you guys can see, I picked up, I can never say his name. I've heard so many pronunciations. Çalhanoğlu, maybe that's how you say it. This is just the toughest name for me, man. But Çalhanoğlu there, 23,000 coins, 23,500. Really not a bad idea. Again, it's one of those players that he's really not going to drop in price, not price. He's not going to drop in price, so it's a safe investment. You know, you can feel pretty comfortable about that. You could sell him on if it doesn't happen, but if you need this guy, you know, it's probably going to be extinct. You're probably going to have to pay, what, you know, 100,000 coins maybe? I don't know, something crazy. So might as well get him now. So yeah, guys, those are some of my tips for the player of the month of April. Either Son or Benteke. That is certainly who I think it will be. It just depends on, you know, the last match, because I didn't mention that there is one more match to be played. Unless one of them scores, you know, 2 goals or more, something like that, or gets a goal and an assist, I'm pretty sure either way it'll stay a race. But you do want to take a look, you know, make sure you're marking that last match, checking it out, see what happens. But either way, it's going to be close. It could go either way. So I definitely go ahead and make some of these investments, especially some of the more random players that I've talked about, where, you know, it's just good to cover your bases. Make sure you don't get screwed when the requirements come out and you're thinking, shoot, now these players are super expensive, they're extinct or whatnot. You've got them covered. You can make some profit if you don't want to do the SBC, or you can save a ton of money if you do want to do the SBC and you've already got the players before they are extinct and whatnot. So yeah, like I said, guys, you guys requested this, and hopefully this will help you out. So if you did enjoy, drop a like on the video. I'd much appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'd much appreciate that as well. Stay up to date with future SBC investment videos, SBC themselves, player reviews, and of course my new Juventus Road to Glory. A new episode will be coming out very soon. And follow me on Twitter at NoahYT5. You guys have been sending me loads of tweets. Love reading them and interacting with you guys there. It's in the description. It'll be on the outro screen and everything like that. And that's going to wrap it up, man. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace.